Cool. So yeah, we can just go ahead and dive in. I think as we all know, topics meditation. We have Christian on, who's been able to cover a large spectrum of spiritual practices and paths. So that way we can kind of sort which area might be best for us at this time, or sticking with what we have, but deepening it as well. So yeah, Christian, we can start wherever you thought might be best. My first question would be the purpose of meditation. So you can lead with that, or if there
That's a great question, because I've been thinking about this a lot. What I would like to help you guys, what I'd like to give to you guys tonight is 2 styles of meditation and the process of doing that. And that dovetails right into it. So why it's not working, what we've been doing, if we've been doing things without getting much results, what we can do to change that up. And one of the main things we need, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain to you the difference between passive and active meditations and how to do them. The passive is going to be real quick, because most of us know that one. Active is a little bit trickier and a lot more fun. And then we're going to sample one. I'm going to guide you through an active meditation so you can kind of see how it works and what you can do with it. And you probably do things like this on your own already. And basically what it is a template so that you can modify and customize it and make it unique to you. So this is just a basic foundation, a template to give to everyone that I've been using for a long time. And again, it's just a template. So from there, you can branch out and modify it and shape it the way that you like for you.
Cool. So everyone can partake except Sierra. We don't want her to relax, drifting into the meeting of the road there. But yeah, so if you can start explaining kind of the purpose of, if they have the same purpose for active versus passive, or if it's different for either, Christian on.
For many, many years, I was doing the standard school of thought on meditation. Silence my mind, try to be with nothingness, no mind, no thoughts. And I kept thinking, man, I'm not doing this well, because my mind is full of thoughts. Theoretically, I made great progress. And when I compared notes and had conversations with other meditators that were doing this for years, I was right there with them. And I was thinking I was failing, and they were thinking the same thing. We would sit there and collaborate on these things. And we both thought we would always, all of us think we were failing, because again, we're doing the wrong thing in the right way, or we're doing the right thing in the wrong way. And so passive meditations are what we're mostly familiar with. And this is where we want to clear the mind and have no mind, no thoughts. And the goal is to attain a level of peace and tranquility that can benefit us, that can set us right. We want to take out all the clutter, all the thoughts and clutter and emotion garbage and stuff. And we want to take all that out like the trash, and we're going to make it clear. And that's kind of our goal. And 9 times out of 10, I was thinking, well, I'm not doing this very well because I'm not getting anywhere. My mind's full of thoughts. I'm able to bounce back and forth. I'm able to contain some thoughts, and then I have thoughts, and it's kind of going back and forth all the time. And so again, now what I was doing in the earlier days is, am I still there? Can you hear me? I don't know what's going on. It says iPhone on my screen.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, good. Somebody is. So, okay, so everybody can hear me? Ryan, you there? I don't know what's
I
going
can
on.
hear you. Yeah, I can hear you and see you fine.
Well, that's one person.
I know.
I can too. Ryan's on mute. So
Yeah, I'm seeing everything on mute.
okay.
Sorry.
And
I can
hear you.
Okay, now there's Ryan. So
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, should I continue?
Yes, you're good.
Okay, I'm good. All right, thanks. Sorry about that. So I was able to, I'm doing candle flame meditations and yantra meditations in the early days, staring at the yantra visually, getting sucked into the Sri yantra and then other yantras that I absolutely adore and love, and standing at the candle flame in a dark room. And I was having transcendental, magical experiences, truly having moments where I'm like, oh my God, I am merging with this object. I am merging. I mean, I could feel the space between us getting smaller and smaller, and having this absolutely miraculous experience. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is exactly what we're taught to do. Like, I'm having it. And the moment I thought that, boom, it's gone. Because now I'm thinking. And of course, then I'm like, oh man. So why did I enjoy it? Because the moment you enjoy it, the moment you acknowledge it, you're done. And that is the trick. That is the hard challenge of passive meditations. That the whole thing is, as the Zen and the yoga teachers teach you that when you finally get to the point where you merge with the thing, the focal point, then you have to let that go. You make your mind one thing, totally focused to one point, and then you got to let that go. Good luck. So in this age, the passive meditation is not recommended. So what we're recommended to do is active meditations. Now, think of this.
Before we get to active, if you could explain that, because I think that's where a lot of people's expectations come in, is they're told to focus on the breath, try to clear the mind, whether that happens or not. Sometimes we can, sometimes we can't. But even if we can, why that might not be sustainable.
The nature of the mind is to think and feel. If your mind is conscious, then it's going to think and feel. That's its nature. So what you're doing is you're trying to restrict and restrain what's natural to it. And I'll give you an example. My alchemy teacher, Dennis Hawk, tremendous man, and he and I were sharing some notes and some thoughts and conversation about meditation. And he was saying he and I were sharing this and talking about this transcendental moment where you're like merging with the breath and the cosmic space and how wonderful it is. And he says, and Krishna, and I'm in this trance and I'm hearing the breath of God and I'm hearing, and I'm just enraptured in it. And I'm just so in love with what's happening. And I couldn't believe it. And then I opened my eyes and my dog was right in front of me. And he realized, he said, that moment for me was a complete turnaround. He said, I realized I don't want to be a dog. I don't want to have no mind. I want to be all mind. So if you want no mind, that's great. Continue to pursue it. But honestly, I don't want to be no mind either. I want to be all mind. I want to activate my mind. I adore my mind. I love having the ability to think and feel. That's what makes me human. And so it's better to roll with what I can do well than try to restrain that and get better benefits. And so the often mistaken perception is that we will only get the benefits if we can still the mind and make it stillness instead of making it active. So it's not about making it still, but converting it to what you're going to let it think about. And that's the secret. And that's what we're going to be doing tonight. So the passive meditation is very challenging because it's the complete antithesis of what your mind is designed to do, which is to think and feel. And that's its natural state. And let's, instead of restraining that, let's capitalize on it. Let's take advantage of it. Let's exploit that and let it think and feel. But let's direct our thinking and feeling to the directions of what we want in our goals of meditation. Tonight, we'll do a meditation for peace. Something just peace of mind, peaceful state of mind, to experience peace. This is because a guided meditation, there's a group of us. But again, in your own private meditations, choose whatever you want. Peace, success, achievement, fulfillment, attaining a goal, manifesting something, whatever you want, you must have, just same with the candle flame meditation, you must have a focal point, someplace to direct your mind. So the paradox in passive meditation is that we're directing our thought to nothingness. And they're a complete contradiction. And we want to absorb our mind in nothingness. And it is possible, but it's very, very difficult. And again, if we're living in the world too, so if you want to go live in a cave and be a monk and retire from the world, then you have a better chance. But again, the age of Kali Yuga is not the age for that, because no one can do that. We still want our Starbucks. We still want to live in the world. We still have to live in the world. We have to get by. The other thing is, as the Vedas and Upanishads clearly point out, as Patanjali clearly points out in Ashtanga Yoga, in the Yoga Darshan, he says, they all say, even if you get into that state, the moment it's over, it's over. You're back in the world. It doesn't carry over. Yes, you do get some residual benefits for sure. It does help you. Same as working out, anything else that's healthy for you does well help. But we're simultaneously also disappointed because we realize we can't sustain it. And we start beating ourselves up about it because we think we're doing it wrong and because it's not natural for us. And so a lot of us are experiencing a lot of disappointment and frustration because we think we're doing it wrong. Because when we get in these great states, if we can reach those, that when the timer goes off or whatever it is, something happens else, so we got to get to work, whatever we got to do, we're back in the world and we don't feel that different. We can still get frustrated, we still get angry. Yes, a little bit less. We're not seeing big, huge, dramatic differences unless we put in tons and tons of time. Now, keep in mind, my passive meditations that transcended and went into active meditation, which we're going to go into. I'm talking about what I was doing at that time is I would fast for 2 to 5 days. This wasn't all the time. This was every month or two, I would fast for 4 or 5 days. And every day of that, I'm meditating every hour or so throughout the day. I'm still working, I'm still doing other things too, but every hour or so, I'm going into deep meditation. And so I'm fasting and meditating. And again, I'm using the yantras and the mantras and the candle flames and all this, doing some ceremony, ritual and cleaning and yoga and pranayama. And it was intense. And by the 4th day, when you're fasting too and combining all these things together, it gets really intense. It's beautiful, but it's pretty hard to sustain that. I mean, I have to go to work, I have to live, and you get a little crazy. And I mean crazy in the sense that eventually your mind gets kind of comfortable in this kind of celestial kind of space of consciousness. And that's great for you, but you can't relate to the world and they can't relate to you. And that again is the danger, that many of the enlightened and illuminated and saintly personalities of our histories, they look like crazy people on the outside. They look like they're insane. And many of them are institutionalized. And many people that are institutionalized now are not crazy. But I have to be careful, because I'm no saint, I'm no illuminated divine personality at all. And so if I get in these levels of consciousness and I stay there, well, then I can't relate to the world and I still got to live and work in it. I had a son to raise and a partner that I was with, and I had a lot of responsibilities. So I can't stay in that cosmic space all the time. It's very dangerous.
Awesome. So I think that's a framework. Imagine if anyone has any questions on more pushback on that, we can do that at the end. Yeah, if we can get into the active part, what might be more aligned with our lifestyle, more able to kind of continue with us sustainably.
Yeah, I think that's what you're going to love about this, is that if you have active meditation, and again, I'm sure all of you do this from time to time anyway. Now, active meditation doesn't mean motion meditation like walking meditation, which I love. I do walking meditations all the time. Every day I take a walk. Every day I go do something physical, and that's meditation for me. That's where I clear everything out. So that's a motion meditation. Active meditation is, again, simply to engage the mind. So again, before you begin, you want to pick a goal. What are you meditating for or on? Peace, quiet? Are you visualizing? Are you manifesting? Are you trying to make good relations between yourself and the world around you? Whatever it is, be very, very specific. Don't leave it ambiguous or vague, because your subconscious mind will interpret it for you then. So you've got to make it very clear to your subconscious mind and your conscious mind, with your conscious mind, what your goal is. And that goal should have a feeling to it. So let's begin there. Now, we're not going to begin the formal sample of meditation yet, but I'm going to get you ready for it with this preparation. So first, let's think of the goal. And again, tonight we're going to use peace, a peaceful state. So I'd like you all to just take a moment. And if you want to close your eyes, you can. It can help sometimes to just think about what that feels like. It sounds very simple, peace. And I want you to do more than think about what it feels like. I want you to think about what it looks like and what it smells like. What does it feel like physically, mentally, emotionally? What does it look like? So if you're going to see yourself or someone else in a state of peace, what would it look like? Think of yourself in a state of peace and visualize that image and make a relationship with it. What does it feel like? What does it look like? Pictures speak 1,000 words. The language of our mind is images, not words. And so what we want to do is we want to use images in our mind as a tool. Same with the yantra and the candle flame. And now we're doing it with our goal, whatever that may be. So again, in your own meditation, maybe you take that as success. Maybe you take that as being a good partner, a good athlete, whatever it may be. And again, you can change it up every day. That's a fun thing too. It doesn't have to be the same thing. Tonight we're going to be doing peace. And so we want to think, what does that look like? What would I look like if I'm in a state of peace? Now, again, do not leave this ambiguous. Do not be too vague. Try to see yourself as if you're in front of a mirror and actually see your own features and see your expression and see what you would look like if you were in total peace. And your mind might struggle with that. Your mind might resist and kind of throw up other images. That's okay. those images, let them float by. Don't stop them, because then you're engaging with them. Instead, let them float by, and then just keep bringing it back to and directing it back to what you look like in a state of peace. What would it feel like? Now, that sounds like such an obvious thing. What would peace feel like? Well, it would feel peaceful. Sure. But let's think of what the symptoms are of that. We would feel calm. Our breathing would be even and comfortable. Our nerves and our muscles would be relaxed without tension. We would be neither warm nor cold. We would just be comfortable mentally, physically, and emotionally. This is what peace means to all of us. So spin it the own way you want, own way that you want for your own brand of that. Make an intimate relationship with what your brand of peace is, what it looks like and feels like. Now, and again, in your own meditation, you're going to elaborate on this. Okay, I'm going to kind of walk you through it fairly quickly today. So again, picture speak 1,000 words. So I want you to use that now. Again, typically it is very intelligent. It's a very good practice to get into, to maybe do some yoga stretches first, get your body limber. Yoga, Ashtanga yoga and Hatha yoga is really all about, it's not about making your body healthy. It's about the reason Hatha yoga in the Pranayama, what reason describes Hatha yoga in the Pranayama is because how else can a yogi sit there in lotus position for 8 hours? It doesn't do Hatha yoga for 8 hours, for another 6 hours a day, and be vegetarian and eat and eat correctly, because it puts the body through hell. And so Hatha yoga and all these other branches are there to equalize and neutralize the discomforts that we have within our body. So I recommend beginning with a few stretches. Touch your toes, reach up, stretch the body out, arms out, anything that's just simple. It doesn't have to be anything intense. Just get your body limber a little bit so when you do sit down, you can sit comfortably. And when you sit, again, doesn't have to be very militant and regimented either. So make yourself comfortable. If you can sit in a lotus position, awesome. Palms up in the mudra, for sure. That's absolutely the best, but not if it's uncomfortable for you. So I've had some back issues in the past. I never had really great flexible joints, not even since I was a kid. So for me, sitting comfortably in an Indian style or with my legs crossed is not comfortable for me at all. So the important thing is to keep your spine straight so that you can breathe well. And sitting in a chair is just fine. And what you want to do then is keep your feet flat on the ground instead of up. If you're sitting up in a chair, keep your spine straight. And then again, same thing. You can use the mudra and you can put your palms facing up, and you're going to begin with some pranayama. Every session of meditation begins with some pranayama. Begin with breathing in and out through the nose. Now you guys can't see this, but I also have some incense going, and I highly recommend that too. It always sets a nice ambiance. We want to create a meditative environment. I have a meditation room that everything in that room represents spirit to me. Everything on the walls, not one thing in that room has anything to do with anything else but spirit. Incense. The pranayama, we can keep it very basic and simple. We don't have to get intense with this. That's not our goal tonight. In through the nose and out through the nose. Now, again, I'm going to keep talking to give you instruction, but of course, you won't be doing this on your own. You'll be able to replay this and get this kind of for notes. So when you breathe in, many of you probably know what the belly breath is. Breathe down into the belly. Bring your breath down, not just into the belly, but feel it go down in through the nose and down through the throat, down the esophagus and down into the belly, and fill it like a pot. So you can feel your belly protrude like a pot. If you're comfortable, pause and then exhale all through the nose in the exact same reverse order. Have it go up from the belly all the way up to the esophagus, up to the windpipes, up through the lungs, out through the throat, and out through the nose again. Now, the complete breath is very, very important and vital. When you breathe in till you can't breathe in anymore. And when you breathe out, exhale all of it, every bit of it. Don't leave anything residual behind. Breath is power. What you're breathing in is pran, energy and life. What you're breathing out is the leftovers, the residuals that you don't need. So don't leave any behind. Exhale completely. This is what many people don't factor into in their pranayama and their complete breath. They breathe in pretty good, but most people don't focus completely on the out breath and get rid of all of it. Make sure that that belly goes concave back to your spine, protruding out like a pot when you breathe in, and leave it collapse and even force it back against your spine as you exhale out. Now we're gonna do a couple rounds of that without me talking. Now this is pretty traditional stuff. We're not back to the active part quite yet. And now we're going to bring into the heart center, the Anahata chakra, right into the heart center, and visualize green. That's the color of the Anahata chakra, is green. What shade of green? Make it whatever you want. Now keep in mind that whatever you go to, whatever your mind naturally produces for green is, because that's typically often what color yours may be. And it may need fine-tuned. It should be a lustrous, beautiful green. Not too dark, not too light, but just really very green. And so feel free to tweak and fine-tune that. Imagine you have little dials that you can turn with your mind. Imagine you can actually reach out and touch them and turn them and tune them up. Tune that shade of green to what you want it to be. And right there in your heart center, and feel that lotus, that Anahata chakra, turning over your heart. This chakra is called unstruck. It is the Mecca, the sanctuary for nonviolence and ahimsa, peace and love and understanding. Breathe into the heart chakra and see with the green. And now we're going to skip. We're going to skip the lower chakras. We're going to skip the next ones too. We're going to go right past the throat chakra and go right into ajna, in between the eyes. Indigo, violet, purple. In between your eyes, your third eye, right in the center of your forehead, right in front of your pineal gland, seat of the soul. Now, as you bring your breath and you think of the green heart chakra, the Anahata, I want you to merge them. Allow the energy that you're breathing to travel from the heart into the ajna and allow them to circulate between the two. Now we're primed and ready to go. We've done some pranayama. And again, in your own solo meditations, you'll be doing this for maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, as long as you like. Do this for as long as it's comfortable. The moment you start to get your mind starts to wander, then we're going to switch. So I want to build a link between the heart chakra and the ajna chakra. And now, since we're in our psychic eye, we're going to get a little visual. We're going to get into the active part of the meditation. I want you to visualize and imagine yourself walking down a trail in a beautiful forest. Nature all around you. Trees and birds. And the ground beneath your feet, you can feel it crunch under the soles of your feet. And it's easy to walk in. You feel good, and you feel light, and you feel comfortable. And your breath is fine. And the weather is perfect. And you're surrounded by trees everywhere you look, up and down, and enjoy the scenery. Look down at your feet as you walk and see your feet moving along the trail and see the dirt on the ground and the earth beneath your feet, solid and foundational. And look around you to the trees surrounding you, alive and vibrant and full of messages. And then look up. Between a canopy of trees, you can see the sky above, but you're shrouded by these beautiful trees. Everything's alive, and you're just walking and strolling and breathing and feeling just good, just great, feeling so sublime. Now, up ahead, you see there's a clearing coming up. The trees are going to break and there's a clearing, and you're excited. It makes you feel very positive. You feel very excited and enthusiastic. You want to see what's in that clearing. It intrigues you, and you walk deliberately with intention to get to that clearing, excited like a child. As you approach the clearing from the trees and the trails behind you, it's a huge, beautiful meadow, like a big bowl of a meadow. It cascades down a little bit, and then on all sides of this meadow, as big as it is it's forest of trees. This meadow is perfectly clear and green and fertile, surrounded by trees. And you step into the meadow, and it feels so sublime and so perfect and so peaceful and so nice. And you're so excited, like a child, just to be there. Take it all in. Look behind you, look at the trail that you walked across. Look around at the trees all around the meadow and the life that's in them, the birds and the animals that are out there. Look up in the big, wide, beautiful sky. Maybe there's some clouds up there too, giving you some character. You're surrounded by this nature. And now your attention is caught by just ahead, a little bit forward in the meadow, off to one side is a pond. And you're intrigued. It just gets better and better. You want to go towards the pond. Go towards the pond. Walk across the meadow. And as you get closer to the pond, you feel the pond likes you there. It's welcoming you. And you're so glad to be there, so grateful. And you can feel it welcoming you, and you're thanking it. You give it gratitude. And as you approach the pond, you get closer and you see the water is very turbulent. It's jumping and waving all over the place. It's just really turbulent water. It's a big mess. And you can sense and feel that as deep as this pond is, the water is that turbulent all the way through it, from shore to shore, all the way to the depth, to the surface. There's one still part of this water. And the pond is asking you to help. And so you sit down at the edge of the pond with your eyes closed, and you take breath, and you smile, and you feel yourself with love with this pond. And you can feel it loving you and loving that you're loving it. And your eyes go half open for a moment, and you see the water is slightly calmer than it was. And it makes you smile. And you close your eyes again, and you keep meditating. And you just will and love this pond. And you imagine the water through the depths of it becoming more gentle, more calm, and more still. In a few moments, you open your eyes half open again, and you see the pond is calmer still. And you can feel its gratitude. You can feel how it's appreciating you being there, and you feel so fortunate to be with it. And it makes you smile. You know you're involved with something great. And you keep meditating and breathing and loving and sending the pond peace as it sends you its love. And you finally, when you open your eyes, the pond is completely still, like glass, like a mirror. And the sky above with the clouds with giving it character are reflected perfectly like a mirror in the reflection of the pond and the surface. It's perfectly still. And you can feel this pond in nature just grateful for your presence. You smile again and you take a look up. You see the sky above you, mirrored perfectly in the surface of the pond. Look around to the edge of the meadow, to the trees and the forests and the meadow all around you. And you realize your work is done there. It's time to go. You ask to leave, and you feel the nature that's there saying, thank you for coming. You say, thank you for having me. And as you stand and turn to walk away across the meadow, back towards the trail you came on, and you feel so happy. Not just to be peaceful, but to be part of something that's bigger than you are, to give something and to get something in exchange too. Just a loving exchange of reciprocation. And as your foot steps out of the meadow and onto the trail, you can feel and you can hear the crunch of the ground beneath your feet again as you walk back onto the trail that you came out on. And you enter into the trail with a canopy of trees all around you. As you walk back to the trail, this time up ahead, you see a small building. What kind of building is it? That's up to you. Is it brick? Is it stone? Is it metal? Is it canopy? Is it trees? What is it? Some kind of structure. And you know intuitively that this structure has mysteries in it. And it's welcoming you too. And when you go to it, to the door, and you open the door, it is full of knowledge. Books, videos, audio, anything in every form there possibly is. It's just everything that there can be to be known is there. And you have access to it. This scene now belongs to you. You can visit anytime you want. Both the house of knowledge and the meadow of peace. And when you sit by that pond and still the pond, and it gives you its gratitude. This is an active meditation. Now, as you exit, you do the same thing. Focus back on your breath. Bring your awareness back to your breathing in and out through the nose. Bring your focus to your Ajna chakra between your eyes. Pay attention to the breath. Feel the sensation of the breath. Bring it back down into your heart, into the Anahata chakra of unstruck. And now let it flow out. Let it radiate in and let it flow out. And when you're ready, just open your eyes, consider a conclusion. And again, this was a very condensed version. You can do this as long as you want. You can change it around if you like. This is a good example of an active meditation. Instead of trying to blank your mind, you've thought of peaceful things, beautiful things, and you've had a relationship with it. This is something your mind can grasp and relate to. It's not too abstract.
Thank you very much.
Any questions? Anybody comment on how that feels?
Yeah, so we have about 15 minutes left. We can open up to some questions. Melissa? I think you're on mute now. Other way.
Everyone that I see has a red microphone with a line through it.
For some reason, hers is off, but I still can't hear her.
Yeah, I see. You're saying, Melissa, yeah, same thing. I see her talking, but I can't. Then now her microphone just went red. Now it went off. Then it says Claudia, iPhone, and Rex, and Horace, and all.
You want to try putting your question in the chat?
I know what happened. I plugged in my speaker.
There you go. Hi.
Hi. So my question is really about the what was it, the passive meditation. And so when I meditate and I go into the body awareness, like awareness through the body, is that passive or is that active?
Say it again, you broke up a little bit.
So is the awareness through the body when I'm using my intent or my mind to focus on feeling the body and becoming the body and seeing, just being the body and meditating? Because I reached amazing new levels, I guess, today, meditating through that. And so I wanted to find out if body awareness was passive or is that considered active?
It's a bit of both. What you just described, at best I can figure from what you described, it's a bit of both. It's the only thing I would add to that, Melissa, right? Yeah, the one I would add to that is intention. So I know you got one. Make it very, very clear to your mind, and so put it in words, literally words, and then again visualize and see what that means, what you want to produce for your body. So we have these very general abstract concepts. I want to feel at peace. I want to feel joy. But again, what exactly does that mean? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And so I want you to see and visualize that prior. So you kind of meditate before you meditate. Conjure and make that an image, build a relationship with that and bring that into your meditation. So you continue to visualize. And again, like a yantra or a mantra, we want to have that as our focal point. Now, the struggle that many people have, maybe you do, maybe you don't. I made great progress with things similar to that too. Some amazing, miraculous, magical events that I've enjoyed. Really a lot of fun. I work a lot with my chakras and my kundalini, and for sure. And the challenge for most people, and even for anybody who's adept in doing it from time to time, is that our mind will sometimes resist. It starts to go a different way. It wants to think its own things. And we're struggling trying to bring it back. So we can make it more active by giving it a plot, a story. The reason I gave you this meditation example of the pond, what you're doing is you're experiencing peace, but you're visualizing, you're engaging with it. So it has a plot and a story. And so this is what our mind gravitates to. When we have a plot and a story, we can get into it. And suddenly we haven't thought, we're not wandering to worldly things anymore, like what's for lunch or what's going on at work. This is what's always interrupting our meditations. We're always interrupted with the thoughts of our worries and our concerns, our children, our friends, our lovers, blah, blah, blah. Everything's coming to our mind. We can't stop it. And yet when we watch a movie, we're almost in a meditation, because if it's a really good film, we're just absorbed in it because it has a plot and we're engaged. And so what I'm advising is you can do the same thing with the body meditations, and you can add a little bit more, as I did at the end there, with the structure, with the knowledge in it. Imagine a structure or something you go to that is your house of your body, and it's perfect, and see it and feel it and make it outside of you and within you. So when it's outside of you, when you go in it, it becomes you.
One more thing. Does everybody vibrate when they meditate or have like electricity and I've literally had it to where, okay, it's just really very intense vibrations where other people can feel it also. Next to me, they felt it. So I just want to make sure, I mean, I know it's obviously something's supposed to happen because it happened. So I don't know. Does anybody else do that?
Yes. I have a friend that can feel when she comes over, she said it's like nothing she's ever felt before, the vibrations. Yeah.
This is typically the two of you, because there's a lot of people that don't, you know that, but there's a few people that do. And this is because in prior lifetimes, you've done the work. So I can sell a lot of vibrations too, but that's very Oriental, by the way, that past life, that's very likely to be very Oriental origins. And so Zen and Tao Te Ching. And so these are prior lifetimes of work that you've been able to do this, because again, a lot of people, they don't vibrate at all. And if you're able to do that, it's because it's partly a carryover sanskar from work you've done before. And you're enlivening it, you're waking it up. That's wonderful. Go with it.
I have a question. So meditation for me, I wasn't seeking it when it happened. And I'm not even sure if that's what I was doing when it happened. But can a person remote view when they're doing meditation?
Yes, of course. It's not recommended. The thing is, your psychic power is called CDs.
It wasn't by choice.
No, I know.
Okay.
And here's the thing. No, that's the thing. People may experience some type of Kundalini event, some type of CD, psychic event, and these kind of things automatic, spontaneously. You're not something you're deliberately doing. And so this again is a carryover from prior work you've done in prior lifetimes. That's why. So you've already done this enough times where your mind is already natural with it. And so the thing is, it's counterproductive because our CDs, our psychic powers and abilities, they detract from what we're trying to do spiritually. They're part of the world, not part of the spirit. They're part of the Mayak. So when you see this happening, as tempting as it is, you see again in Ashtanga Yoga, as Patanjali explains in the Yoga Darshan, he's saying to you, be careful, because when you cross into the realms of the CDs and the powers, they're there to taunt you. They're there to entice you, and they become your desires. And that's counterproductive to what we're trying to accomplish. And so the true yogi is when they get confronted and get confronted with these things, they turn away from them. And so they get they get like bonus advantages because they're turning away from these things. They're turning away from the world. And so again, they're very seductive. They're very tempting to go deeper into. So there's an opportunity for you to make tremendous progress by turning away from them.
Counterintuitive.
I have a question.
Go for it, Rex.
So can you give me some more examples of what you're talking about of turning away from? Make that a little more clearer. And also the other question I have is usually where it shows up for me is in my dreams. My dreams become, what do you
Tell me
call
about
it? Lucid, very lucid.
Yeah, tell me about it. And listen, dreams, it's a little bit different. You get a little more latitude there. I also get very strict communications and visions when dreaming. And again, I'm not dreaming. I mean, I am existing in both realms at once. When I'm asleep, I'm very active, more active than I am when I'm awake. And I'm very conscious of it. I'm very aware of it. And I wake up feeling very rested. But I get a lot of work done. And so when your conscious mind is dormant and your subconscious and unconscious then have more cleaner and pure access. And so the more sattvic realms, you could say, or dimensions or energies communicate more cleanly with you because your ego your ego and yourself is unconscious and dormant. So those things, you're not really deliberately doing them. Those are kind of happening spontaneously. So when I say turn away from them is in your meditations. And again, I still got to be careful in my vision work, and this because I'm not working, it's just doing it, is to, when I wake up in the morning, I meditate on those and I try to discern, are these my desires or are they telepathic coming from someplace else? I gotta differentiate. And again, the thing is, during meditations, we don't want to deliberately activate them. So if they happen, they're part of a side effect of yoga, of yoga and meditation. As you evolve and you get better, then these are side effects of them. They will come. And so we don't want to necessarily resist them. But when I say turn away, it's simply to remember what you're meditating on, which should be spirit and peace and love, not so much about psychic powers. So when I say turn away from them, I'm saying that when they happen and during meditations, it's to literally think of something else. Bring your mind back to, just like in passive meditation, bring back to your focal point, which is whatever it may be, peace, love, or visualization, or whatever you're trying to manifest. It takes some practice because our mind, especially our psychic mind, will continuously put these things up and put them in there. And we have to kind of turn the volume down on them. And eventually over time, they stop knocking because they realize nobody's going to answer the door. And that's what I've been able to do is they keep coming and pounding on the door. And eventually I don't answer and eventually they go away.
That answer.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Well, my question is, I think I want to try to understand what's being spoken about. So with turning away, I was going to ask earlier, when I am trying to balance my third eye chakra, or even in kind of visualizing on a path or by a river, which I've done before, but not quite that clear, I will sometimes have ancestors come that have passed away, but it's welcoming. It's like, oh, wow, this is wonderful. And I feel their warm presence. And I feel like there might be a message. So is that just like, yeah, it's good to see you, but let's catch up later? Because I'm working on myself? Or is it just like, hey, what's going on? And have your little message and exchange and then say, okay, back to the breath and back to just cleansing and balancing with breath.
That's
the work I need to be doing.
And that's a very advanced stuff. So, I mean, this takes a little bit more of looking into because, for example, it has to probably what the messages are. Okay, so, and again, it has to do with how much of a relationship you have with the celestial realms. And so when we talk about past loved ones that have passed on, here's the thing, and many people struggle with this. Passed on loved ones reincarnate. Okay, so that's not them. Typically what you're seeing is a projection from, it's how these celestial realms can communicate with you, because it's something you can relate to. Okay, so, and that's right, because it's more comforting, because otherwise it's just like this celestial kind of being. And so that's great. And so what they may be telling you may very well be important. And again, I get them all the time. And honestly, I don't try to, and I don't try not to. They come in and I say, okay, and I let it go. And here's the thing. I'm trying to do the right thing too. I'm trying to respect what it is that I'm supposed to do. I'm just a stupid human, so I don't really know. I'm trying to do the right thing. I want to listen, but then again, I don't want to abuse the powers either. Okay, so I just want to do what's right. And I found that when I'm not sure, because I'm a stupid human, and they understand that, and they embrace me and say, you know, we know you're a stupid human, you're just being cautious, but boy, you make us work by giving me messages again and again and again. And they do. It'll happen to me 4 or 5 nights in a row. It'll happen again. I mean, literally to the point where it's the same thing again and again and again. And I'll give you a prime example. I was at when I was reviewing some of the editing of my new book, is that when I was in Washington and I was in exile, it's a long story and it's almost bringing tears to my eyes even beginning to go there. When I was in Washington in a spiritual exile, self-willed exile, I woke up after about 3 years and it was clear as day. And again, we're not talking voices. I'm not sociopathic, but it was like a voice, and it was said, "Your exile is over. Go home." Now, I never ask, "What do you mean?" I let them do what they do. I don't ask for clarity. I don't say why. I don't say, "What do you mean?" And I blew it off, and I'm like, "Okay, was that me? Was it?" I mean, it didn't feel like me. It felt like the celestial realms, because I know the difference. But I'm too stupid to know what that is. And so every night, it was, "Your exile is over, go home. Your exile is over, go home." And again, same time, same exact sensation. And then I also came with a visual, which is why this is tattooed on my arm now. And so again, I have found that, and that's just one example out of many. It's not that I'm ignoring them or trying to defy them. It's that since I'm a stupid human and I don't know, since I'm not celestial, I don't want to get the message wrong. So I don't know if it's me or them. And again, when it's them, they're persistent. When it's something that's cosmic or something that's my own higher consciousness, much higher conscious, and it's still part of me, then it'll be very persistent. It'll just keep on coming the exact same way until it becomes undeniable.
Yeah.
I think
Thank you.
I think that's part of the brand, is they realize, again, they're very persistent, and it'll be the same thing the same way. It doesn't change up much.
Yeah, thank you. What it seems like to me is if it's an important message, it'll come out in journal writing. So if it still persists in my mind, if I start writing about it, I realize that it might be just a vibration of what that person represented to me when they were here on earth. And those messages are just coming through my experiences as a human, a dumb human, if you will, with that person. But sometimes if it's a strong message, it comes through automatically. I feel like it's just like my hand starts shaking and I just keep writing and writing and writing and writing. And I don't even remember what I wrote. And I look a couple days later and say, "Oh, wow, that is a
Right.
really important message."
You're like, "Where'd this come from?" You're like, "Where'd this come from?" There's even, yeah. And of course, here's the other brand of it, is that when you look at that writing and when I start to act on these visions and messages, I have a sense of clarity and peace that is unlike any other. Things that logically and humanly, I'm thinking, well, this is stupid. I can't, that's not smart. I can't do that. I gotta be really responsible. But when I do it, in spite of the fact that it doesn't make much sense materially, I feel pure and clear and good. And when I don't do it, I feel like shit. Like
Exactly.
Right? You feel agitated when you don't follow. And so that's another good brand and way to differentiate between the celestial messages and our material messages that we're conjuring without knowing it, is that when you act on them, and again, I ease into it. So when I was totally, my exile was over and I was seeing this hendecagram, this symbol in it was there every night. Okay. And I never saw it before. And I'm going on to Google. I'm like, well, I guess I'll look it up. I didn't know what to Google. I'm just typing in different types of stars. Sure enough, after about an hour or so, maybe 10 minutes, one goes, I'm like, "Oh my God, that's it." Okay. This is a very rare symbol. Now, I was very clear to me that I was supposed to have it on me. Now, I'm not a tattooed guy. Okay. I have 2. That's it. That one. And one that I've had for a long time. too. So I'm not a tattooed guy. And it was telling me to have it on me. So what I did was I went and got a henna tattoo, put it on me, and I wore it for like 3 weeks. And every day that I looked at it, did I want it? Did it feel right? Every day I looked at it, it kept saying, yes, I want to be here. Yes, I want to be here. And it breathed and came alive, made itself more and more at home until I realized that I absolutely wanted to have it, needed it, and I got it on Halloween.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, well, I do want to be respectful of people's times here. We started at like 8:40, so we want to keep these to an hour. So got about 5 more minutes here. Did anyone have any thoughts on the meditations or after effects meditations, kind of the framework of it all? Any other questions?
I just wanted to thank whoever, everybody who responded to me about trying to, about whatever it was I asked about the third, it gave me the third eye and the breathing, which I knew about the breathing, of course, and following the breath, but the third eye thing tremendously helped me today. So thank you.
Good. Listen, I'm getting a lot of great stuff that I'm picking up from you. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's coming to you. A lot of stuff. You operate on some very high, you are on some very high frequencies. You're very well connected. Keep it up. Listen, if we could, I'd like to close with, it'll only take a couple minutes, another meditation, get a little guided meditation to close with. Can I do that, Ryan?
All right, sounds like a good ending.
Okay, now, I said to all of you that we should bring in an intention to our meditation, whether it be peace or joy, whatever it may be. And for me, my intention is always the same. I just want to connect with God. I want to serve God and connect with God. My intention, it never changed from that. I don't meditate on anything else. That's me, okay? But whatever you guys want to meditate on, you're going to bring that in. So I gave you a peace meditation, a guided one. Now we're going to do a material one. Sometimes it is worthwhile to visualize and meditate on material things to help manifest them. And again, if we're living dharmically, if we're living proper and correct, well, then our intentions are good. So I'm certainly not just trying to meditate on and manifest windfalls of material things. I want what's right for me. So here's an example of that. Close your eyes again for a moment. This will only take a couple minutes. Now we would do the same kind of preparation we did before, some pranayama, some breathing, some stretching, whatever. And now let's say something very generic, that we just want to be more fit and lose some weight, or maybe gain some weight, depending on who we are. This is what our intention for this particular meditation. It's a very material one, and that's fine. It's harmless. Want to manifest our desire to be well. So let's lose weight, gain weight, and be more fit. So what I want you to do is, once you've prepared, then I want you to visualize and see an image of yourself in front of a mirror. You're standing in front of a full-length mirror. But the reflection that's looking back at you is a you that's slightly healthier and fitter. Not dramatically, not night and day, oh, poof, you're perfect, or anything. Make it slightly better towards the end of the spectrum that you want to be at. Maybe lost a little weight, maybe a little more fit, maybe a little bit more tone, maybe a little more lean. And as you look at the reflection of yourself looking back at you, see a clarity in your eyes, a happiness, a confidence. Now, on the side of that mirror that you're seeing yourself, look at yourself, and you're looking slightly more well in that image. On the side of that mirror is a staircase. It's a little set of stairs that goes down. And there are 5 of them. You walk to the steps. Right alongside that mirror of yourself looking and feeling just a little bit better than you are right now. And as you take each step, we're going to go down the steps. Not yet. Wait till I count them. As you go down each step, I want you to feel a little more confidence, a little more fitness, a little more wellness. Perfect that just a little bit more with every step that you take. And with your left foot first, going down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. And you again feel a little bit better, a little bit more well, a little more confident. Now, in a regular meditation, you're going to spend some time there at the bottom of that step. And you're going to, again, remind yourself of all the feelings and visualization that you want to have for yourself, looking fitter and being fitter, maybe a little more successful, whatever it may be that you might struggle with. And after about 5 minutes of that or so, then you're going to turn and you're going to walk up the stairs and you're going to count. Begin with your left foot first, always left foot first. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you can have your eyes wide open and you're wide awake and you feel vibrant and you feel good, and you feel smart and effective. And that's it. Now that again is a very, very quick one. Now, normally I might guide someone through that. Many of my clients that want to lose weight or anything like that, I use this meditation. It's a form of hypnotic suggestion, and we're infusing that with images, very positive, very, very suggestible, and it helps us to visualize and connect the dots with this way. We can turn that from a 3-minute thing to a 10-minute thing, whatever you want to do. Okay. So again, that's another example of an active meditation for a material goal. Now, again, my parting words to you all is that it's easy to get confused about our intentions too. Let's keep it simple. We are stupid humans. That's always my little joke phrase. We're all stupid humans. That just means that we're not divine or enlightened. If anybody who's not divine enlightened is stupid. So we're all stupid humans. And so as stupid humans, we can't trust ourselves. We're always going to bring our desiring and all that stuff in because we're bringing our own mind into our meditation. Our mind is messed up. It's part of the material world, not the divine world. And so all I recommend and all I encourage you to meditate on, or at least spend some time meditating on, is just loving God and feeling God's love for you. They say God is omniscient. There's one thing that God cannot do. He cannot not love you. Can't do it. So in all of your meditations, maybe begin, but certainly close with just that final meditation and thought. Now, me personally, I meditate every night when I go to bed. I read when I go to bed, and I usually have 2 books by my bedside. One that I might be reading for fun and knowledge, something to do with work or whatever it may be, or some even my own stuff, because I'm an author and I'm having to proofread a lot of my own stuff. But when I start to get a little drowsy, I grab a spiritual book, something of scriptures, something of knowledge, something of the Vedas or the Upanishads, something of my guru, and then I spend a few minutes reading that as I fall asleep. So my last thoughts, and I have an altar of my deities across the room from me, and it's lit up, and I have a little switch by my bedside. So the last thing I see and think is about spiritual love, and that's it. I gotta go. My cat's there's a cat outside.
Nice. All right, everyone. You never know what direction these are going to go in. So 9/10 of it was unanticipated. Hopefully it's helpful. So I plan on doing another one of these next week. We can build on top of meditation, spiritual paths. We can also put a vote in. But yeah, as you guys see, this is Krishnan's YouTube channel. It's going to be a bunch of shorts on a lot of different topics that most common questions people have. He has an email here. You can reach out for any spiritual adaptations or training that you need, or any of specific topics that you need more in depth on. You can see this was just one minor one, and it's pretty it can be pretty dense if that's what's of interest. So yeah, those are a couple resources, and of course there's a group. So hopefully we'll see you guys next week. Good to go. Awesome. All righty, guys. Thank you for joining.
Hold on. Let me say goodnight.
You better have, you have Chow Chow with you, or else anticlimactic ending here.
He's got a girlfriend that likes to come around and like taunt him. And he will go chase her out into the woods. I won't see him for a day or so. So say hello.
Figured he felt left out. Night, Chow Chow.
All right. All right.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Rex.
Thank you.
Nice seeing everybody.